My manager fired me for refusing to wire an old woman's life savings to a scammer. 3 weeks later, those same scammers came back, and he finally learned what my insubordination had been worth. I'd been a teller at Sparrow Creek Community Bank for 9 years, a small branch. The kind of place where you know the regulars by their coffee order and their grandkids' names. I liked the slow parts of the job, the chatting, the double-checking, the little conversations that tell you when something's off with someone. That instinct is the whole job, if you ask me. Wexler disagreed. Wexler was the branch manager, and Wexler loved a metric. Transactions per hour, wait times, satisfaction scores. He'd stand behind us with his tablet and sigh when a line formed. He told me more than once that I was too slow, that I talked when I should be processing. There was a cat, too, a skinny gray thing that had taken up residence by the back steps where we took our breaks. I started keeping a little bag of food in my locker and feeding her out there in the mornings. I called her Penny. One of our regulars, an older widow named Mrs. Ridley, absolutely adored her. She'd come early just to sit on the back step and hold that cat before she came in to do her banking. Over a couple of years, Penny quietly turned Mrs. Ridley and me into real friends. Then came the Tuesday I'll never forget. Mrs. Ridley walked in without stopping to see Penny, which should have told me everything right there. She was pale, her hands shaking, and she slid a slip across the counter for almost everything she had. A wire transfer. Urgent. It needed to go right now. I asked her gently what it was for, and it came pouring out. A phone call that morning, a man saying her grandson had been arrested, that bail had to be wired immediately, that she mustn't tell anyone or it would go worse for him. She was terrified. She just wanted to save her boy. I knew that call. We'd been warned about it a dozen times. It's a script, run on hundreds of grandmothers a week, and it works because it turns love into panic. There was no arrest, there was no bail, there was just a stranger waiting for a frightened woman to send him everything she had. So I didn't process it. I told her as kindly as I could that I believed it was a scam, and asked her to let me call her grandson's cell just to be sure, 30 seconds, before we sent a single dollar. That's when Wexler appeared. He'd seen the wait, seen Mrs. Ridley upset, and he did not like the picture. "Is there a problem?" he said, in the voice that meant I was the problem. When Mrs. Ridley, flustered, said she just wanted to send the money, Wexler turned to me and said, "Then send it. The customer knows what she wants. We don't interrogate people about their own accounts." I said I wouldn't, not until we called the grandson. I said I wasn't going to be the person who handed an old woman's life savings to a criminal because we were worried about a wait time. We called the grandson. He picked up on the second ring, from his job, perfectly fine, baffled about why his grandmother was crying. Mrs. Ridley wept right there at the counter, the good kind of weeping. Her savings stayed exactly where they were. You'd think that would have made me Employee of the Year. Wexler wrote me up that same afternoon for insubordination and creating a negative customer experience. By Friday, I was gone. 9 years. Walked out the back past Penny's food bowl for refusing to help rob a widow. Here's what Wexler didn't count on. Scammers don't hit a place just once. 3 weeks after I left, the same crew ran the same play on Sparrow Creek. A panicked customer, an urgent wire, a manager watching his clock. Except this time there was no slow, chatty teller insisting on a 30-second phone call. The wire went through. The money was gone before lunch. It was a great deal of money, and it was somebody's entire life, and it made the local news. When the bank's fraud investigators pulled the branch records to see how it happened, they found something interesting. The exact same scam, flagged and stopped cold 3 weeks earlier, by a teller who'd been fired for it, by Wexler, for being too slow. They asked me to come back, not to the window, to a new role, helping train the whole region to catch elder fraud before it happens. Back pay for every week I'd lost. Wexler was pursuing other opportunities by the end of the month. Mrs. Ridley adopted Penny, by the way. She says that cat saved her savings, and honestly, she's not entirely wrong. If that skinny stray hadn't made us friends, I'm not sure she'd have listened to me at that counter. Penny sleeps on a heated bed now and hasn't worked a day since. People ask how getting fired turned into the best job I've ever had. Honestly, I didn't do anything but my job, and feed a hungry cat out by the back steps.